Hello soulmates, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to cut and sew this beautiful Milkmaid dress you are seeing on your screen. If this is what you're interested in, please keep on watching. Let's get started. This is the part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. So right now I've already gone ahead to draw out all my vertical lines. As you can see, I roll out my shoulder line to my bust line, my under bust, and my waistline. So now I'm going to take my client's shoulder measurement, which is 8, and then I'll take the neck width 3 inches. So I'm using 3 inches for neck width. Then I come down by 0.75 for shoulder slope. I'm going to be taking the 8 inches I took on the shoulder, also on the chest line. Before that, I'm going to be marking my round bust measurements, which divided by 4. Then I'm going to be taking the shoulder measurements, 8 inches, also on the chest line. Then I'll connect. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be dividing the line by 2. At that middle point, we're going to go in by 1/2 inch. Then we're going to use our curve ruler to connect the 3 points together. To form our armhole curve. The next thing we're going to be doing now, we're going to be taking our darts, taking our nipple to nipple, 4 inches. My client's nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 2, that's 4. And then use the straight ruler to draw a straight line to connect the points together. And then we are going to be taking 1/2 inch on both sides of the dart leg. The next step is that we're going to be taking our body measurement. So the waist of my client's round waist circumference divided by 4, I'll mark. And then I'm going to add 1 inch. I'm also going to mark, I've already marked the one for my bust. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch for that, and also 2 inches for seam allowance. Then on the bust, on the chest line, I'm going to be adding 2 inches for my seam allowance because I've already marked my round bust measurements and there's no darts on the bust line. So now I'm going to be using my curve ruler to get our body shape, as you can see. Then the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to go up by 2 inches. You can decide to go up by 2.5, depends on how open you want your chest line to be. So I'm going to be going up by 2 inches on my client. As you can see, I went up by 2 inches, and then I use my straight rule to connect. Then after doing that, we are going to cut this out, as you can see. So I'm going to be cutting it out first. So now, this is the pattern paper I'll be using for the back. I'm going to have to rule out my zipper allowance. So I'm going to be placing the front piece on the back piece in order to avoid drawing another pattern drafting. So I'll place it on it, and then I'll use my pencil to trace it out. So you see where I place my front piece, I place it on the line of the zipper, so I didn't put it after, so our zipper allowance will still be taken, as you can see. So I'm going to create a slopey neckline. So I came down on the center by 1 inch, and then I'm going to just slope it down to the armhole, as you can see. Now I'm going to take out 0.5 on the zipper on the waist area to prevent zipper bulge. Now I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to be removing half an inch. Please advise that you remove up to 1 inch to prevent it from bulging at the back. So now we're going to separate the pattern paper now from at the under bust line, so that we can be able to do our splash and spread for our Milkmaid. So I just added 6 inches to the front of the pattern paper. So that 6 inches is going to serve as the ruche to make the front piece fuller and the ruche. And I added 1.5 at the upper part and then half an inch at the lower part, half an inch for the joining, while the 1.5 is to create our casing where our elastic is going to pass through. So now this is our new cup. So I'm gonna have to cut it out. So I'm going to be closing the darts on the lower part of our front piece, so that I will not be taking any darts while we are sewing. So I indicate the center front, side front, and I also wrote band on it, so that I will not get confused when I'm sewing it. Now I'm going to be cutting these out. So before we cut out the pattern on the fabric, we're going to first of all cut out our skirt part. I'm going to have to fold my fabric into 4. On the center, I came out by about 1.5 inches for our zipper, as you can see. So all my measurement is going to start from the middle mark here, not from the zipper, from the second middle that is unfold. I mark my waist circumference. I added 1 inch for that and also 2 inch for seam allowance. Then I came down by 9 inches for the hip. So I use 9 inches from the waist down. I use 9. I also mark same thing. Okay, actually I used 10.5, sorry. So use my ruler to connect. I did freehand for the skirt part. So now I'm going to take this round hip circumference divided by 4, mark it, and then I'll be adding 2 inches for seam allowance. Then next what we're going to do now is to use our cover to connect from the waist to the hip. So now we're going to measure from the waist down to the full length of our skirt. So I'm sorry that the hem part isn't showing on the camera. So I just mark from the waist to the full length to the desired length I want the skirt to be, and then I roll it out. Then I use the same measurement I have on my hip, and I just remove 1 inch from it, and then I mark it on the lower part. So now I'm going to be using my cover now to connect. So I'm marking out my 1.5 for my zipper. So I also remove 1/2 inch at the waist area for my to prevent zipper bulge on the zipper line. Now we're cutting it out. So I also remove 1/2 inch on this from the center of the back piece so that to avoid zipper bulging as well. So now this is all the pattern drafting. In our next tutorial video, we will be teaching you guys how to join all these beautiful pieces together on the sewing tutorial to make the complete dress. Thank you so much for watching up to this point. Please hit on the subscribe button, like, drop a lovely comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you get notified when I upload the part 2 of the sewing tutorial. So I'm also going to be removing 1/2 inch on the back piece as well, on the lower parts. This is to prevent it from bulging, guys. So this is the final look when we're done sewing. So this is just the pattern drafting. I'll see you guys in the sewing tutorial. Bye for now.